Hi friends, and welcome back to Ravenbrook Farmstead. Our garden is finally in and complete and all of our beds are done. And so now we are falling into kind of a more relaxed rhythm going about our days and our chores. So I thought we would take you along today on just a typical weekend day in our life here in rural Maine. Now that it's summer, we've been having our coffee on our sun porch pretty much every morning, which is probably my favorite part of the whole day. After we are fully caffeinated, we take Finney for his walk. We are so fortunate to live just down the street from beautiful walking trails. I sometimes still can't believe that I get to live in such a gorgeous place. At this point, all of our starts are in and almost everything that we have direct sown has come up, and it's been wonderful seeing everything grow and flourish. And if you saw our last video, you will remember that I did not properly harden off a lot of our plants, but fortunately they've all pulled through and they're all doing very well now. So no harm, no foul for that particular learning experience. Another big change from our last video was that our big old maple tree that we knew was going to have to come down eventually actually had to come down sooner. What happened is a branch fell when it wasn't even windy and got way too close to our house for comfort. We were very fortunate that the only damage that was done to our house in the fall was the loss of one floodlight, because it could have been really bad and destroyed most of our barn. So there was no delaying the inevitable, and we did have to get a team out to bring down the old tree. It was really amazing because they took that thing down in about 2 hours. And once the tree was down, it was really obvious just how rotted it was. I had hoped to get a really large cross section of the tree for an art project or for memories, since it is a piece of history of the house. But unfortunately, we were not able to do that because the center of the tree was, well, pudding. The whole tree removal was a very expensive endeavor, and so to save some money, we had them leave a lot of the brush and all of the wood behind, because that brought the cost down. And so because of that, Dan's job today is clearing and sorting the mess. So when we first put the beds in, we were using the mulched leaves that had been overwintered in the chicken coop, which really worked great as our seedlings were starting, because it allowed the small seedlings to poke through really easily. But now that it's getting a lot sunnier and a lot hotter, it's just not providing quite enough depth and cover to keep our soil moist. So we're having to figure out some different alternatives. We would love to just do a thicker layer of that leaf mulch, but we just don't have enough, so that's not going to work. So with the trees that we just took down, we were thinking that the big pile of mulch that we have after that, we could just put into our garden. But then I was reading that you don't want to put really fresh wood chips in a garden because it can leach nitrogen out of the soil. There seems to be some conflicting ideas on that, but I don't particularly want to risk it with our whole garden. So I figure we'll just let that sit and then maybe use it next year. We're also planning on using some of that for mushroom beds. So it should be fine. But that doesn't mean that we're not without options. So when we moved into this house, we found, as you can see back here, we found this kind of pile of old leaves. It's probably like multiple years of old leaves. And it's been sitting there. And underneath the top layer, it's like moist, rich, full of worms, partially decomposed. And so that would actually be a really great mulch. At least I hope so. So that's what we're doing. We're digging it out, and then I'm laying it into the beds, and kind of ripping it apart with my hands just to make sure there's not any big chunks that are going to create a water barrier. So let's get going. And just to show you guys what this stuff looks like, you can see that the pieces aren't, some pieces are sort of large, like a full leaf, but a lot of it is meshed up, right? And some of it is almost dirt-like. So hopefully, little baby wormy. Yeah, full of worms. So hopefully this will be really, really good. So at this point, it was probably about 2 o'clock and it was hot. We was running about 90 or so degrees that day, and I was hot and the chickens were very hot, getting their dust bath on. And so we decided it was time for us to take a break and cool off on the river next to our house. Time to get back to the garden now that the rain has stopped. And today is a really exciting day because this is actually the first harvest that I have ever made out of our garden on this piece of property. And I couldn't be happier about it. The last chore that we have to do on a daily basis is water our garden. So while we do have water hookups near our garden, we don't have any drip irrigation system set up, which means hand watering. Now, at first I thought this would be really romantic and it would be a wonderful time for me to spend time connecting with my plants. But after doing this for a little while and realizing how long it takes for a garden this size, man, we need drip tape. But I think that might be a next year project. So what we're doing in the meantime to cut down on time is we're only hand watering the back beds and the front beds because they are very low to the ground and easy to get disrupted by moving the hose around. We're using a sprinkler. But the sprinkler takes a very long time to saturate and it takes a long time to put into position. But, you know, incremental changes. So now I'm getting ready to start making dinner. We make pizza pretty much every weekend. It's a tradition in our house. And we try to keep it creative and not boring since we eat pizza once a week. And today I'm gonna do like a Asian style pizza. So we've been marinating some eggplant, and we have these wonderful shiitakes that we get from our neighbor up the street. They sell them out of a cooler every single weekend, and so we've been using that a lot in our cooking recently until the mushrooms run out. So that's what we're doing. Ready? Ready? Okay. Oh yeah. Success. So while the pizza was cooking, I decided to take some of the beauty outside and bring it inside by picking wildflowers. I've never been a flowers kind of person before in my life, but since moving here and having so many flowers all over the place, I have gotten really into having a nice arrangement at our dining table. Right? Oh yeah, that's good. And now that the pizza is done, it is time to set the table. I really like to have a nicely set table. It just creates ambiance and warmth and really sets a nice vibe. And just kidding, we never do that. We pretty much always watch TV, and currently we are watching Gilmore Girls.
My play's super free. Sorry, me. I'll leave you to the play.
Hello? Rory? Listen, I like you and I want to be more than just friends with you.
Good night, Richard. Boys? Boys? Are you ready for bed?